Good evening. How many of you have faced or are facing the difficult decision of moving a loved one into long-term care? I know firsthand that decision to move someone you love into long-term care is one of the hardest and most difficult decisions you will ever have to make. I have been part of the Jubilee Residences community for 10 years, both as a family member and as a staff member. It is an incredible community filled with incredible people. Jubilee is very special. We have about 1,000 souls, long-term care residents and their families, affordable senior housing tenants, staff, volunteers, both human and animal, and volunteer board members. Jubilee is a locally controlled, owned and operated charitable organization that consists of 2 long-term care homes, 3 affordable housing units for seniors, and the charity that we are representing this evening. For over 60 years, Jubilee Residences has worked to provide not only quality care and shelter, but also a life worth living, with huge emphasis on a life worth living. Long-term care is often not thought about or talked about. It is rarely a top-of-mind issue for the general public or policymakers or politicians. That is why the opportunity to share our story with you tonight is so important. Long-term care is not a club exclusively reserved for people in their 80s and 90s who are palliative or who are living with a debilitating chronic condition. Granted, the majority of our residents are frail and elderly, but please consider this small sample of some of our most recent residents. Paige and Paul, a wonderful young married couple in their late 30s. Bob, who in his early 50s had a seizure at work, which led to a diagnosis of an inoperable and incurable brain tumor. Kay, a brand new grandma who stepped in front of a car, resulting in a brain injury that made it necessary for her to have 24/7 assistance. Mary, who has lived in long-term care since she was 13 years old. She is now 53. Ruth, a 42-year-old pharmacist. MS has robbed her of her ability to remain at home with her family. Take a moment. Think of members of your family. Think of people you love. Look at the people who are seated around you. A good number of the people you are thinking about or looking at will eventually need a long-term care home. The question is, what do you want that home to look like when your loved one gets there? What do you want that home to look like when you get there? I am sure you imagined it to be a home, not just living in a home. There is a difference. And that's where your support of Jubilee's Comforts of Home campaign can make an enormous difference. The Comforts of Home campaign is very simple. We just want to transform all of our 200 resident rooms into warm, inviting spaces. New flooring, freshly painted walls, new blinds, new bedside tables, new closet doors, new sinks, taps, and countertops. And the best part of all, choice. The residents have been given 4-room designs from which they can choose what they want. Our homes are just that, homes, not institutions. You have the ability to make a huge difference tonight. Your support can immediately help transform our aging, dull, drab rooms into warm, inviting spaces, places that actually feel like home. A powerful difference in the quality of everyday life. It is important that you know Porteous and Stensrud are only partially funded by the provincial government. The majority of the capital equipment from bathtubs to hot water heaters are not funded by the government. No government funding is received to replace furniture, whether it's a bedside table or an item as basic as curtains and paint. When nursing homes were originally planned and built, they were fashioned much like hospitals. Sterile, drab, uninviting spaces with long, narrow hallways and small rooms. Our decades-old homes at Porteous and Stensrud are constantly challenged to create a warm and pleasing home environment. But we are making significant headway, and with your support, we'll be able to do much more. Anne Frank once said, "How wonderful it is that nobody need to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. And you do not need to wait a single moment to begin helping us realize the dream of adding color and beauty to Porteous and Stensrud. A life worth living. It's our vision for long-term care. Please join us in making it a reality. And in closing, and on behalf of the residents of Porteous and Stensrud Lodges, I want to thank you, the 260 women who care, for this opportunity to talk to you about Jubilee residences, and to thank you for your individual and collective generosity. But most importantly, I want to thank you for your commitment to your community. Regardless of the decision you make this evening, I know that your gift will have a wonderful and lasting impact upon our community. Thank you.